Culver City, California, right outside the Culver Studio movie lot, ready for some James Bond action tonight. To see a screening of Thunderball, James Bond classic. So the plaza is just right off of this private movie studio. And at the Thunderball screening, there'll be a Q&A afterwards with the beautiful red-headed villainess
Luciana Paluzzi, lovely to look at, murderous to know.
Who is also in Green Slime.
Don't ask any questions.
One woman searches for a last chance to save the human race from the desperate hunger of the green slime.
The lobby guys that bring us up, we need three,
always has places to go and people to kill. Danger is the game he plays, and he holds every card. 'Cause if you wanna win, you gotta spy hard. A man of the world, so suave and discreet. He trips over the women while up at his feet. But evil's lurking, so he's always on his guard. 'Cause if you're gonna spy, you better spy hard. He every day is a tough job for any man. But his hours are flexible, and he's got a great dental plan. By the way, if you walked in late, allow me to reiterate the name of this movie is Spy Hard. They call it Spy Hard. You're watching Spy Hard. It's the theme from Spy Hard.
Recently on location in Nassau, James Bond has had the good fortune to meet a new assortment of girls in a new picture. United Artists Thunderball, directed by Terence Young, produced by Kevin McClory, and with everybody traveling first class. Thunderball's heroine is a French actress, 23-year-old Claudine Auger, who plays Domino, an international adventuress. Italian actress Luciana Paluzzi, who plays villainess, is thrilled about this role because it will give her, she says, the greatest exposure possible. As a fellow secret agent, Jamaican-born Martine Beswick is a comparative unknown, as are all of the girls. They are selected to please both Bond and the audience, a sort of international brigade of blind dates. For their strenuous roles in Thunderball, Bond's playmates attend a training school in cinematic violence. They're taught armed and unarmed combat, scuba diving, and how to handle a variety of underwater equipment and exotic weapons. Not since Mata Hari, perhaps, has espionage ever looked so good. If a girl wants to share James Bond's company, she must be ready for all kinds of action. There's no room in his world for the fragile wallflower type.
Hi, Sean. Nice to meet you.
Who are you?
The name's Letterman. Dave Letterman.
You're a complete idiot.
Are you folks ready? Are you very excited about this? We're very excited. We're very delighted about the appearance of our first guest. This next gentleman requires no introduction. For the first time on our program, ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to one of my favorite actors, Sean Connery.
Now this gun and this gentleman are at it again in yet another divertissement which we filmed, being filmed in England. This one is a Bond film called Thunderball. And it's got this gorgeous girl whose real name is Claudine Auger, and this gilt-edged Bond whose real name is Sean Connery.
All right then, Sean!
He's been saved by a lovely, bad French girl who turns good when she discovers that Bond love is great underwater too, so now they've got to be rescued.
Okay. Cut it. Got it. That'll do. All right, Philip. All right. All right. Now, the reflection of the arc on the ceiling. On the ceiling. That's it. That's the helicopter. I must get up on the far side. That's all right. When you swim, I'll take you up there. I'll get the second shot. Start off yourself. Start off. That side. Chérie, tourne vers lui. Tu es si content. Tu souris alors. Ça, tu es sauvé. All right, stand by. You take it very casually. You're used to this. Darling, will you come up with your hair back? All right, here we go. Sean, come a little closer. Stand by. Shooting. All right, action. Turn. Don't worry about what you've got now. Come up. Looking here for the towel, looking here, good. Now look quickly, the helicopter. Now start to swim towards it. Go. Look here. Down. Okay, got it. Okay, come on out. Come on out. Okay. Put that one on there. Okay, cut it. Thank you.
They're open. Yeah, they're open.
Child's play. Totally wimpy. Whoa. Shake it. Not stiff. Pepsi Max. Full color taste, no sugar.
The distant stars. Only helpless Earth. 21st century. World of the future. And lurking beyond the cold, strange immensity of conquered space. Growing and spreading beyond the warped imagination of the greatest human intellect. Exploding in unspeakable horror. The
Green slime, yep.
The civilized world at war with alien forms, whose slimy touch means instant, horrible death. Invaders from beyond the stars. The green slime. Robert Horton. Luciana Paluzzi.
Yeah.
You make too many mistakes. You're not right for command.
This is my command, and I'll manage it.
Two men struggle for survival in the infected remains of a diseased universe. One woman searches for a last chance to save the human race from the desperate hunger of the green slime. A battle in space against faceless beings. A cosmic nightmare that sends you into the incredible, berserk world of green slime. Green slime. Green slime.
You were a television network, and you could get your hands on any movies you wanted. What would they be? Our thoughts exactly. Never before has one television network presented a full week of pure Bond. James Bond. 7 days of 007, beginning March 4th. And only TBS has him.
My name is Liana La Bella.
You're a newspaper reporter?
You mean you never heard of Liana La Bella?
Oh, I saw her last week on the Mike Douglas show being interviewed, and she is something else, Steve. Let's get back to the facts before your libido is excited. This is my associate, Dan Williams.
Piacere.
Oh,
Always I protect my sources, Mr. McGarrett. Otherwise, as you in America say, they will dry up.
this is not cocktail party chit-chat.
Oh, I thought that to be forewarned is to be forearmed.
Absolutely right.
But I am sure that you and this handsome young man can prevent any trouble should it arise. Good luck, Mr. McGarrett. Ciao.
Ciao.
Remember that old adage about mixing business with pleasure?
You know me, Steve.
Yeah, that's exactly why I mentioned it to you.
Of course, our secrets were still intense.
So when I needed shots for a villa I found there, which I was before, I rang up Miami and in one night fished 15 sharks, and they were trained and put into one of the pools. Sean was very reluctant to be in the pool together with the sharks, so I designed like a corridor out of plexiglass so that the shark was behind the plexiglass and Sean was on the other side of it. And I said, the only way the sharks can get in is if they can jump in the air like a dolphin. He said, well, how do I know sharks can't? I said, you have my word for it. This is not good enough. What I didn't tell Sean is that I could only get so much plexiglass and one 4x8 sheet was missing. So there was a 4-foot gap.
And now, of course, underwater, you can't see anything. And I went to go underwater to do my first entrance to swim past the shark.
But as always happens, the shark went straight down the corridor and went out through the 4-foot gap. And believe me, the shot we have in the picture, Sean Connery is not acting. I told Sean to get out as quickly.
And I got out of the water without, I think it was dry when I touched the side.
I've never seen somebody leave a pool at the speed that Sean.
I don't know whose fault it was, but it didn't happen again.
When danger becomes a temptation, when every move brings you closer to the edge, when you live each day like it's your last, there's a surprise around every curve. Die another day.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the screening of Thunderball as part of the From Culver with Love series that we do in partnership with To Live and Let Die in LA. Last fall we showed GoldenEye as part of a 100 Years of MGM retrospective. Steve and Neil from the club showed up. It got the gears turning on all of our parts, and we had a meeting a couple months later and decided that we were going to show all the Bond movies here. So this is a bi-monthly series. Currently, only this year is plotted out, but we'll be announcing all the future titles as time goes by. We obviously don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. But yeah, I've been really excited to see how quickly this has grown. Clearly, LA was needing some kind of Bond fandom outlet, and it's really great of Steve and Neil to provide that for everyone. And so without further ado, Neil McNally and Steve Kilcullen.
Hello, everybody. Oh, hello. Sorry, we speak all the time, so we speak in tandem a lot. So, just want to thank you for being here for Thunderball. We have a few announcements before we get to the film. We are a club, so if you want to find our website, it's to liveandletdieinla.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, to liveandletdieinla.com. Please, we do the films, but in between we do meetups, cocktail times, all this fun stuff. After tonight, we're gonna go to, what's it called? Sorry.
The Jameson.
Jameson's Bar, yeah, sorry about that. We're gonna go there, so if you wanna have some fun, please join us there. So, in December, if you want to know what our next film schedule will be for next year, you have to come to that, to Die Another Day, to find out, and then we'll let you know. But it's going to be a lot of fun stuff. But we can release we are going to have a bonus screening in December. November will be the one that you can come and see what.
No, wait.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
So Die Another Day is what, September?
Yes, sorry.
September.
I'm
So
confused.
come to Die Another
Sorry.
Day, and you will get next year's
There you
schedule before anybody else does. That's what we're going to announce.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
But December is where we have the
I
extra
got
one for
confused.
this year.
Okay.
Sorry, we get excited.
So in December, we're going to have we are going to screen a film, and it's a film. We go from November to December, and it's going to be a film called Never Say Never Again. So yeah, so we're very happy to announce that. It's in tandem with Thunderball, so for obvious reasons. So should be a lot of fun. I think seeing a lot of the outfits and Sean Connery and the overalls will be fun for
That's my
everybody.
favorite part.
So
Everybody knows what outfit I'll be wearing that night.
yeah. So anyway, sorry for my mental frizz right there.
We're very excited. This is a very big night for us. Thank you to everybody that came out. Thank you to the Culver Theater for hosting this with us. Thank you to Sonia from downtown Culver City for also providing a lot of assistance. And of course, thank you to Luciana Paluzzi.
Yeah, who was right there. Star of Thunderball. Let's just give her an ovation. She's here joining us. Thank you for being here. Very honored. Yeah. Thank you. And she will be doing a question and answer session afterwards, so please stay. And she will also be pictures afterwards for charity as well. So it should be very good. I do want to make an announcement when the question and answer session is done. She's going to leave separately. So just give her time to leave, and then you can meet up with her out there as well. And I want to give the floor to Mr. Steve Rubin, author of the James Bond films and the James Bond movie encyclopedia, who's going to introduce the film for us. Thank you so much.
James Bond authority himself. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. I am so excited to be here. Is this exciting or what? Thunderball on the big screen is just magical. First time I ever saw it, Christmas '65 at the Chinese, a big event. We never went to the Chinese, but we went there for Goldfinger. We went there for Thunderball and on. It was just so much fun. I thought I'd give you a little context before the movie starts, just 3 or 4 minutes. I also want to announce that I have a copy of my latest edition of the encyclopedia, and I'm giving it away tonight to somebody sitting in K7. K7. If you're sitting in K7, come down afterwards. I'll give you your book and we'll sign it, definitely. Ian Fleming's books were not selling well, and there didn't seem to be enough movie interest in his books. He was hoping to leave a nice inheritance for his son, and there was just nothing happening. So he was introduced to a gentleman named Kevin McClory. Now, Kevin McClory was an up-and-coming young filmmaker, and he had made a movie called, I believe it called The Boy and the Bridge. Didn't do very well, but he had these grandiose visions. He actually told Ian Fleming to his face that all of his novels were not very cinematic, which, what? Anyway, he said, I have a friend, Jack Whittingham, he's a screenwriter. Why don't the 3 of us sit down? We'll come up with a worldwide screen excitement. He had just worked for Mike Todd on Around the World in 80 Days, so his his kind of go-to was the excitement of going around the world with a Bond adventure, not just set in one place. So they sat down and they wrote a movie about an A-bomb hijacking. It was titled Latitude 78 West, and they couldn't sell it. None of the studios were interested in Bond at that time. The books weren't selling. It wasn't big news yet. So Ian Fleming did something really bad. He decided to write a novel called Thunderball, and he did not credit Whittingham or McClory. So what did they do? They went to the courts. And Ian Fleming was caught up in a 3 or 4 year case where he eventually lost the film rights to Thunderball. Some people say that, he died very young. He died at the age of 56, 1964, the year that Goldfinger was released. And they think the case, so much adjective from that case. So here's McClory with the rights to Thunderball, but Albert R. Broccoli and Harry Saltzman had already started the series. Dr. No from Russia with Goldfinger, they had Sean Connery tied up. There was no way that McClory was going to get a rival Bond going. So he made a deal with Saltzman and Broccoli. And they originally, by the way, before all the legal craziness was going on, they wanted Thunderball to be the first Bond movie. But woulda, shoulda, coulda, it was much too expensive for the first Bond. If you remember when I was here talking about Dr. No a few months ago, Dr. No was made for $1 million. There's no way they were going to make Thunderball for $1 million. So they made a deal. When you see the credits tonight, you'll see that the producing credit for the movie is Kevin McClory. Albert and Harry, they are the presenters. And in their little contract, and I'll make this real short, they Broccoli and Saltzman agreed with McClory that he could have the rights back in 10 years. And in 10 years, 1975, Kevin announced he wanted to do another Bond movie called James Bond and the Secret Service, and by then, Albert R. Broccoli was not about to let him do that. And another long legal case turned up, and all this craziness, and what resulted was in the movie that Neil mentioned earlier, Never Say Never Again, was released in 1983. It's kind of a Thunderball remake, because even though Kevin claimed he could do other Bond movies based on the Thunderball materials, it really was the same story. But that was a success in '83. The reason that Albert R. Broccoli wanted to fight Kevin was because when in '67 he had released the General Bond film You Only Live Twice, early in the year, Charles K. Feldman came out with Casino Royale, the comedy with Woody Allen and Peter Sellers, which took away a lot of their sizzle. A lot of people thought Casino Royale was the official Bond movie that year. So when You Only Live Twice comes along in the summer, the box office was down from Thunderball. You're about to see a movie, by the way, that arguably more people saw than any other Bond movie in history. The numbers on Skyfall, over $1 billion, sure, but inflation. But the number of tickets sold, Thunderball was at the very top. It was just huge. It was Bond fever, and we're seeing Bond at the very pinnacle of the success of the 1960s. I'll be back with Luciana afterwards. I hope you enjoy the movie. Thank you.
Hello, hello. There you go. Wasn't that wonderful, guys? Yeah. Wasn't that great, fantastic?
Thunderball.
Thunderball. Such a great time. Thank you all for being here. But
I wanted to ask everybody before we watch the movie, how many have never seen Thunderball on the big screen?
Okay. Wow.
Hey, okay. Now, how many have never seen Thunderball until tonight? All right.
Nice. That's a good number.
A lot of fun.
You're welcome. So anyway, I just wanted, well, you didn't come to see us speak, so we just wanted to introduce Ms. Paluzzi, if you wanted to walk up here, and also Mr. Steve Rubin for the question and answers.
A little Q&A.
Yes, it's
How exciting was that to see that movie, huh?
I could have cut the underwater sequence by 5 minutes.
John Barry told me years ago that it's very difficult to score underwater because you can't make it slow. It just slows everything down. So you have to have fast music playing against slow action. But it just looked beautiful on the big screen, as we know it's the best place to see movies.
If you think that this was done 60 years ago, and the special effects, I mean, today this all underwater scene would have been done in a studio, in a room with special effects. But they had to really shoot this underwater, and all these sequences. I mean, it's like very long, but breathtaking, I have to say.
Well, the print not only looks terrific, but you look terrific. So I have to ask you, as I've asked you before, what is your secret? Your energy, your just so bearing is so wonderful right now. What do you owe it to?
Thank you. First of all, I have no choice. And second of all, it's an easy question because I really am lucky. I have the genes of my mother, and she started to play tennis when she was 80, 81, and she was like Serena Williams, and I'm strong. So it's not me. It's really my genes.
Do you ever get tired of talking about Thunderball?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because first of all, because it's like always present. There is always something happened. It is like a gift that never stops giving. I have fans that are in their early 20s, sometimes even younger. And if you think about it, that's like incredible. And I get fan mail from them. And then, I will say something like, to somebody, do you know Greta Garbo is? Or Bette Davis? And there is a moment of silence. They don't know who that is. With me, I should be, in the goodbye, gone category. And instead, because the Bond, it's like a festival. It keeps on happening. And so I'm still alive, so I really enjoy talking about it. I have so many memories. When I saw the movie just now, I haven't seen it in a while, and so many memories started to flash back, and I had such a great time.
Tell us some of those memories. What jumped out at you while you were watching it? What are the things you remember?
Well, there is a lot of... How long do we have? Because I know it's a working day tomorrow, and I have about an hour and a half of memories, or maybe more. So it's the thing that was really important. It was the relationship that we all had, starting with Terence Young, who I've known before because I made a picture for him before. And he was like a father to me, and he was an incredible person. I think he was like James Bond himself, because all the nuances, the little touches, the little funny thing that happened in the movie where people giggle, it's because of Terence. And he was an English gentleman with a sense of humor, very generous, very kind to everybody, and he was like a dad. He would say to all of us, "Okay, children, let's go." We were like his babies, and so that was like a wonderful thing.
So I have to ask you, the sequence where you're in the bathtub, which is about the only water you got into. The sequence, obviously, you asked Mr. Bond to hand you something to put on, and he hands you the shoes. Was that all scripted, or was it spontaneous?
No, it was scripted.
It was scripted.
No, I can't lie to you. It was scripted, but it was really cute, wasn't it?
Well,
that was Terence.
There were a lot of publicity photos showing a lot of press on the set that day, in the bedroom set, which I believe was at Pinewood. Did you feel like you were in a bit of a fishbowl?
You know, Harvey Broccoli and Saltzman had a wonderful idea at a certain point, because we were interrupted sometimes on the set by, you know, a photographer would be there or so on. So they decided, for instance, in the Bahamas, they filled the plane from Europe, from London, with all the journalists and the photographers, and they sent them to the Bahamas, and for one day we shot everything just for them. Same thing happened in London. They had the photographers there for a day, so they were happy. And I have to say, if I had to pay a publicity man for the amount of publicity that I got from this movie, there is no amount of money that I have boxes with covers of magazines, of newspapers. It was like, at that point, it was the fourth Bond movie, as you Bond fans know. And it started out with From Russia with Love, and nobody knew what they were getting at. But slowly, by the time we did Thunderball, it was like they knew that they were going to make money with it, and it was evident. Like when we were shooting in the Bahamas, you have these, clouds that come and cover this, and usually you're on a set, and something like this happens, everybody panics because every minute is thousands of dollars. Every minute you have to stop, but nothing happened. We were there working and waiting for an hour for the cloud to go away, and everybody was smiling, everybody was happy because they knew that they had a success in their hands, money-wise. So,
actors working on film sets are always pampered because it's very important to take care of your cast. I get the impression that on a Bond movie, it's exponentially bigger, that they really treat you like a bit of royalty. Would that be accurate?
Yes. I have to say, it was the most fun. I worked for 12 years before I did this Bond picture, and I worked for another 12 years after. And never I had so much fun doing this movie, like doing this movie, because Terence was, as I said, he was like James Bond. So we were so spoiled in a sense that other movies, you stop for lunch, you go sit under a tree, you have a chair maybe, and you eat food from the catering, the place that usually makes kind of lousy food. And here, we instead had a yacht at our disposal to change, like during the Junkanoo sequence when, there were, I'll talk about that later. Terence had a tent on the beach, beautiful white tent as long as this room here, with a tablecloth, champagne, wonderful food, pâté de foie gras, everything. I mean, it was like, what? You're not used to that all the time. So this was like a dream come true, this movie. It was so much fun to do.
So many of us have seen Sean Connery as an older man without the hairpiece, with the beard, looking very, very gentlemanly. You saw him, he was 33 years old. What was the young...
Was he fine?
I think he was 33.
33?
Yeah.
You know everything. So,
what was it like working with a young Sean? What was he like?
He was. I know that his reputation didn't... Okay, my opinion. It was wonderful. It was fun. It was respectful. It was nice. It was adorable. And later on, they said that he was nasty to women, and I never saw that aspect of him. He was just such a nice human being, very macho, very strong, but adorable.
Your sequences are charged. Both of you seem to be on your A game. I have to ask you about the junk canoe because I know that's a big set piece. And I've been to the Bahamas. I've been to a junk canoe, so I have seen it. Terrence told me when I interviewed him in London in '77, he said that after a while it gave him a big headache because of whistle, whistle, boom, boom, whistle, whistle, boom, boom for 3 nights running. What was it like for you?
It was probably one of the most difficult sequences in any of the movies that I've ever made. The reason is that they had these groups from different villages, and once they started walking through the main street in Nassau, you couldn't stop them because there were hundreds, all in different costumes. They were competing, to be who was the best, and you couldn't stop them. So they would go around the village, around Nassau. They had a road that was mapped out for them. So whenever you have to shoot a sequence and then it's cut into pieces and I'm calling here and the guys are responding there, we had to wait that they came back. So it was like this noise. It went on. We shot, I think, 2-3 nights. And it was really overwhelming. But again, in between, I could run to the most beautiful dressing room I've ever had, and just it was just difficult, but we managed. And look, I'm alive.
And typically a sequence where you are in bed with James and then your gang comes in and captures him. That's on a stage at Pinewood, and then you go outside and you're back in the Bahamas. Is that accurate? Or were there sets in the Bahamas as well?
No, we shot most of it in the Bahamas, actually. And I love to shoot on location because when you shoot in town, then you go home and then, oh, the refrigerator is not working. Oh, something happened. Oh, there is always a problem at the house. You go back into your real life. When you are on location, everything becomes a camaraderie. You have dinner with your co-stars at night. You talk about work and whatever happened, and you're still in the mood. So that's why I think it's always most fun to work on location.
A lot of the magazines, Look, Life, had shots of the 3 ladies, Claudine, Martine, and you together. Did you get along well with them? Were you buddies?
I love Martine. We are still very good friends, and we are like sisters. Whenever she comes to Los Angeles or I go to London, we see each other. And Molly was, Molly Peters, the blonde at the beginning.
Sure.
She also was very sweet, but I lost track of her. Claudine, I have a French guy here in the audience, I know. Is he left? Is Eric here still? He's French. So the French are a little bit, with the nose up in the air. They're a little bit like, and so Claudine was a little bit not like me. I mean, I just, to say that we got along would be a lie.
Well, you kept your voice. Claudine didn't. That voice that you hear for Claudine is Nikki Vanderzil, Leslie Bricuss's wife. And she did a lot of Bond voices.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He knows everything about that.
No, if you listen carefully, she's also the voice of Kissy and You Only Live Twice. And she's the hotel clerk in From Russia with Love. And yeah, she pops up quite a bit. So Fiona Volpe. Fiona Volpe is a very formidable villain, and in a lot of ways, she's even more formidable than Largo. Did you have any in developing your character? Did you think back of any famous villains that you wanted to emulate at all?
No. And I may sound a little arrogant here, but it just came so easy to me. And I just didn't even realize that it was, that he became such a well-loved character by my fans who say, oh, you were the best villain, whatever. It came so easy to me to do. I had so much fun with it. So I'm afraid, no, it was all me.
So, if you project in a nice loud voice, we'll take a few questions. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I was very happy also because when they told me, they called me after I tested for the role of Domino, and I waited like a couple of months before I heard anything. I was in Rome and I was saying, what's happening? What's going on? I don't hear anything. Finally, I got a call from Cubby and Harry Solson, both on the phone, and they said, we have bad news and we have good news. So I said, I want to hear the bad news first, because, you know, you always want to end up on a happy note. So I said, what's the bad news? They said, you didn't get the role of Domino. And I said, what? Why? What did I do wrong? So they said, no, the fact is that you've already been working for so many years, and you're already known, you have already, you know, and we want to launch a new actress now. Every time we do one of the Bond movies, we want to have a new girl. So Claudine Auger is going to do the role. Silence. I said, so what are the good news? Just sounds terrible to me. And he said, well, we don't want to lose you. So we decided to give you the role of the villainess, Fiona Volpe. I almost fell off the chair. I was so happy. I was delighted because I always think, you know, that they are more interesting. And actually, usually, this was like, again, a Terence Young idea. Usually the villains are not very attractive. Usually. We're talking 60 years ago. You know, now it's different. But usually they're not very attractive. So he thought that this time he was going to have somebody who was attractive. and he gave me the role, and I was delighted. So that's it. That's what happened.
Well, Cubby and Harry knew you from Tank Force, 1958.
Yes.
Also directed by Terence Young,
Right.
who would direct you again later on in The Klansman.
Yes. Well, that was an adventure.
But obviously Terence was a huge fan.
Wait, are you finished? No. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Yes. So my agent said to me, they're offering you, I don't know, whatever, $500 a week. I can't remember, 60 years ago, you know. So for $500 a week. And I said, that's very little. I'm making more money now when I make movies. Why so little? And he said, well, we can't do anything better than that. That was William Morris. Italy, not United States. So anyway, I had to come to London to meet with Harry and Cubby. So I walked into the office, and it was a very big office, and they had 200 desks. And the secretary said, they're both on the phone, just sit here next to the door, and they'll get to you as soon as they're finished. And I hear Harry screaming on the phone at somebody saying, you must be joking. I'm not going to give you anything more. And if you don't like it, just, I won't repeat the words, but he said, get lost. And we have another 100 actors that can do this role. Bye-bye. And Harry's and Cam talking to somebody else. He's also very upset. So here I'm sitting, and I started to have little, and I don't sweat, but I started to have little drips of sweat coming down my forehead because I said, oh my God, now how am I going to tell them? So they hang up the phone and they turn around and say, hi, Luciana, welcome, come over here. What can we do for you? And I said, I'm not happy with my salary and I would like to get at least double. And they said, okay. So that was like really, a wonderful victory.
Speak up a little bit, please.
Yeah.
I was commenting that when you got shot, this is pretty much like
I agree. No, it was all there. It was all there. Sorry, but.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a specific question. One thing that I always remember about you is the scene where you are driving Sean Connery, and it seems like you're going with that like 110, 120 miles per hour. I'm just wondering, like, what memories do you have of that shot? Were you really driving, or was there stuff in the background?
No, okay. At the time, do they still do that today? I don't know. But they put a background shot. So they shot the road in Nassau, and then we sat in a car that was shaken by people at the Pinewood studio to make it look like if we were driving. And I'll never forget. You just brought up something. Terence had a great sense of humor. We used to go to the dailies to see what we shot the day before. We used to go every day and at night. And we watched this scene, and now you have to imagine, try to remember what we were saying. And in the background, instead of having the road, he had open ocean. This was like an in-joke. It was for the crew, it was for us and everything. But I thought he was hysterical at the time. He did that also he did one with Sean. I don't know if you remember when he was making himself a drink at the bar at the beginning of the movie. He shot Sean in his underwear. The camera pans down after he finishes his lines and he's dressed perfectly from here up. And he panned down, he told the cameraman to pan down underneath. You see the bar is open underneath, and he was in his underwear. So that was also very funny, but that was Terence. And
There's a funny story, and from Russia with Love, Peter Hunt tells it, where the sequence where Bond is being taught how to open the briefcase. You turn the catches to the side, and then you open normally. Well, Peter Hunt cut in an explosion that as soon as he opens up, the whole thing goes black. And Covey and Harry were not very happy about that. Speaking of producers, Kevin McClory obviously was very important to this because it was his project. Do you have any memories of Kevin?
Only few, very positive. He was very flamboyant. He was. I only have good things to say about him, but I didn't really get to know him that well. Cubby was like, also Harry, but Cubby because he's Italian, and so we were very good friends. As a matter of fact, his daughter, who continued, as you know, all the Bond movies. Barbara is like still a very good friend. As a matter of fact, so I'm okay. Okay. Last year, because I want you to know about the Bond world, the fan club all over Europe, there are many, and there is one especially, the British 007 fan club. And last year, they gave their first Lifetime Achievement Award to. I was invited to go to Manchester, and during the trip, I managed to fracture my ankle in many places. So I got on the stage on a wheelchair with the cast on my, and Barbara, talking about friendship. Barbara, that was a Saturday night that we had this, and by the way, just to tell you how important this is, the Bond world is always giving something. These fans, this club in England, at this night that was for a UNICEF charity, and they were charging like a minimum of £250 a person for the dinner. There were more than 300 people that came, and all that money went to UNICEF. So we still are able to, do some good things with the Bond movies. Anyway, Barbara, to go back, I arranged for me on Monday morning to have like one of the best surgeons in London to operate. And now I'm the recipient of 10 screws and a plate in my ankle, and I'm still fighting that because it was a successful operation, but it's never ending, nerve pain, whatever.
We'll take one more question. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Stephen. Luciana, great to see you again.
Thank
6
you.
years since the new Beverly Street. I actually have become friends with Stephen Hill as part of how I know in LA. But I wanted to ask you a question. Stephen has told me that you guys had like a huge James Bond women gathering event in LA like that a year and a half ago. There were plenty of other actresses there. Did many of them come to you saying like, you were my inspiration to play like a good Bond girl or an evil Bond woman? Do you have any of the other actresses
The other Bond girls?
that were at the event?
But of course not. I mean, there is no woman that is an actress and is a Bond girl that wants to say you are my inspiration. It's just, you know what I mean? It's like the ego is na.
Thank you all.
Wait. One more thing.
Okay.
One more thing. Because, I'm getting on with years, and every year, every month, every day, it's a gift. Not just for me, I think for everybody. And there are moments like tonight where everybody's been so kind and sweet to me that are really very important to me and will stay in my memory. And I want to thank you for having come here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Luciana. The person who is in there we go. In K7, if you would like your book, come on down and get your book.
If we could ask everyone to just pause and allow Luciana to go out to the lobby because she's going to be sitting out there and signing autographs for charity, and that would be great. But let's hold off photos and everything until we get out into the lobby. Thank you.
Have you seen everything you came to see? Go back to your friends and report.